I would like to address the pink elephant in the room. The pink elephant that changed my life, and I think it can do the same for you. So please close your eyes and imagine a big, huge elephant. Its name is Cliff. So how does he look like? Does he wear a jacket? Or maybe he tickles your face with its trunk. Oh, Cliff. Okay, you are allowed to open your eyes again because I have 3 questions for you. Do you know who you are? Lift your hand. Okay, a few. Do you believe you can have an impact on the world? Oh, more, okay. And do you know what a memory palace is? Okay, if not, then today is the day to learn about one of the best memory techniques ever. So, which animal I did ask you to remember? Pink elephant. You're great. Okay. So, once upon a time, there was a girl dreaming about being on a stage as an actress and as a dancer. This girl was me, and I started to dance, and like any 3-year-old does, I told my teacher, I want to dance till the end of my life, till I'm a granny. And I applied to a famous ballet school and was accepted to become a dancer. So by age 8, I was training 4 times a week, and I remember that day as if it were yesterday. I was sitting in the hall at home next to a green telephone, telling my best friend my life would not become the life of my dreams. The school dismissed me because I was too tall, my ankle too fat, and my feet too big. They were right about the feet. But life goes on, and my dream to perform on stage just became a silly childhood dream. By age 23, I became ill, and I spent half a year recovering, and I finally had time to think about myself, because although I loved my job, I always felt something really important is missing. And then it came to me. I almost had forgotten who I am. Me, who had once won the Female World Memory Championship. So I knew all the techniques to memorize almost everything, and I had forgotten to think about myself. And I finished my political science studies and went to a theater school for 4 years. And it wasn't too bad that I had forgotten about my passion, because if I had not learned memory techniques when I was 9 years old, I probably would not have skipped 3 grades and not written 5 books translated into over 10 languages. Okay, now I'm a successfully unsuccessful actress, but hey, I love it, and I still love to teach how our brain works. Do you still remember which picture I asked you to have in mind? Yes. What was it? Everybody? Pink elephant, you're amazing. Okay, so I had almost forgotten about who I wanted to be. And maybe even more true, I was too afraid or too busy to think about it, because it's just easier not to think about it. So, what about you? Who are you? And here's what I can tell you. You are what you remember. You are what you can remember. And of course, you're much more. But you can decide what you want to learn, and you can decide what you want to remember. You can decide who you want to be, if you don't forget about it. So, when you're asking yourself now, oh my goodness, my memory is so terrible, and the less I remember, the less I am. No, of course not. Here's the good news. You have the best gift ever. You have the most complex system in universe that we know, right in your head, your brain. And your brain can learn almost everything. Your brain develops according to the way you use it. Which animal I did ask you to remember? Ah, great. Awesome job, great. So, here's the thing. If we want to use our brain in a clever way, we have to know how it works. So, whatever it is we want to learn, learning happens when connections are formed in our brain. So, in simple terms, please imagine my hands as brain cells and the connection between the brain cells as this rope. So, the synapse, this is the connection. And for example, when you hear a new name, say Jason, then you only have a walking trail in your mind. And if you don't see Jason again, it's easy to lose this trail again. But when you repeat or meet Jason again, then the walking trail becomes a country road and finally a highway, a long-term memory. And when you imagine that Jason loves jazz, and when you have a picture in your mind, you will memorize this name much more easily, because pictures and stories are just perfect to build long-term highways. And no joke, this is actually the first, or no joke, this rope is really the first, or the rope I used in my first ballet school. So you spend more time jumping than dancing. Anyway, why don't we spend more time to teach our children how to learn? So for example, when you want to learn how to fly, you don't sit in a plane and push buttons, hope to take off. No, you first have to know how a plane works. So why not show students how to fly or to learn? And at first I thought maybe the techniques are too complicated. But after I finished school, I wrote my first book and I started speaking at schools. And after teaching a class, half an hour, all students in class got A's on their next biology tests. And the teacher's first response was to assume there had been abundant cheating. But all they did was to use the techniques they just learned. And years later, other people came to me and told me they had managed to get accepted to schools and universities they never thought possible because of the techniques. And it was magic because it changed lives. So which animal I did ask you to remember? Pink elephant, great. By picturing the pink elephant, you have already learned the first memory technique. And I call it one picture technique. And the memory athlete Matthias Ribbing had this great idea to use 3D images. So when you read a page or an article, you just imagine a big, colorful 3D picture. And you will realize that what you learned reading the article will stick to this 3D image in your mind. So for example, when you read about climate change, just imagine a huge tree. Or when you hear a speech about memory, you think about a pink elephant. And it's actually not important what picture you choose. Important is to choose a picture. So the second technique you will learn today is the story method. Young students can use this technique when learning how to read or spell or write. So for example, if a student forgets to put 2 M's in the word immediately, he might imagine how 2 mice run immediately to him when he calls them. And it works well for learning vocabulary. So for example, the Italian word divano means sofa. So you could imagine a diva lying on a sofa singing no, no, no. So I know diva, no. means sofa. So when you want to learn something new, you have to transform it into stories. And the stories can be easy, funny, unusual, exceptional. The crazier, the better. That's the trick. And you get to use your creativity. And that's why it's so great for children. And when I want to memorize more complex information, I use a technique that is called the memory palace. Here we are. So, today our body will be our memory palace. And now please close your eyes and check if your neighbor's eyes are also closed. No, just kidding. I really need you to concentrate right now because we will do this very, very fast, but it can change your life and maybe the world, but no pressure. Okay. So, we start with our feet and the word grass. So, picture yourself standing in your white shoes on green grass. Maybe you are jumping. And it's really important that you see the picture in your mind, that you can imagine it. Or better yet, you have a mini mental movie in your mind. So can you see the grass? Perfect. Then you're allowed to open your eyes again. Because now we have the knees and the word clock. So imagine a clock is jumping on your knees. And if you like, you can touch all the body parts as we go. So we have the pocket pen and the word future. So picture taking a crystal ball out of your pocket and have a look into the future. The bag and the word backpack, easy one. We have a huge red backpack on our back. Belly and apple. Imagine a big green apple jumping on your belly and maybe he punches you. The chest and the word happiness. So maybe you hear your happy heartbeat and you ask your heart, darling, how are you feeling today? So happiness. Shoulder and mistake. You have a dream and you look to your shoulder and there's a black tattoo of a spider. Could be a huge mistake. We have the neck and voice. So try to scream as loud as you can, but no sound is coming out. Face and meditation. So see your smiling Zen face. And the hair and memory. And elephants have very good memories. So please imagine our huge pink elephant sitting on your hair. Hello, Cliff. So let's try it. We had the feet and the word grass. Knees, clock, pocket, future, back, backpack, belly, apple, chest or heart, happiness, shoulder, perfect, mistake, voice, neck, voice, you made it, face and meditation, hair, pink elephant. You just memorize a list that can remind you to think about who you are. Let me explain. The grass reminds you that you're going to die. Sorry. You look surprised. Hope that wasn't a new realization. But figure out who you want to be today and not when you're 20 or 121 and say, holy moly, and it's too late. Or you can just think about having a nice walk in the park and getting fresh air for the grass. So we have the clock. You have a certain amount of time. Use it wisely. Future, imagine it. How would it look like? Backpack. We all carry baggage with us, but try to accept it or even to gain strength from it. The apple stands for our health. So are you getting enough healthy food, enough exercise? Happiness. You are responsible for your happiness, so make sure that you are happy. Mistake. Consider mistakes not as mistakes, but try to see them as a chance to learn. Voice and the neck. Do I have an inner voice? Yes. And your inner voice should be your best friend. and not your enemy. And if it's not like that, change it. Meditation, it's fantastic for the brain. Just try it a minute a day. And memory, and maybe you realized each picture is a keyword for remembering how you want to live your life. So the memory is a picture before you go to bed. You just let the day pass by and repeat what you've learned today. And this will improve your memory. And of course, you can change these 10 words you want to remember. And remember your keywords. And maybe do it every day, or every second day, or often. And you will not forget about who you are or who you want to be. And when you know how to memorize 10 words, you are able to memorize 20 words. And you can learn a new language, PowerPoint slides, speeches. Everybody loves public speaking. Arguments, facts, biology, history. And it's fantastic for exams because much less stress. And you know that you can remember everything you need to, just like a cheat sheet in your mind. And in 1994, when the World Memory Championships were established, nobody could imagine that the human brain is able to memorize over 500 digits within 5 minutes, or over 4,000 binary digits in half an hour. So nobody did. But today, new participants are very close to matching these unbelievable performances after just a few years of training. And why? Because they know it's possible. So we unlock so many possibilities when we think and dream big. And now, how many children know what a memory palace is? I think 99% of them don't. And for a long time, I thought this will never change. But I have changed my boundaries, and I have a vision now. I want every child on this planet to answer the question, do you have a memory palace? With a clear yes. And now I have a challenge. Maybe you will ask at least 3 people, if possible, people with kids or people who work with children. Do you know what a memory palace is? And if they say no, then please explain what it is, or better yet, show them how to memorize 10 words. And maybe the people you teach will teach others. And imagine, children don't forget their dreams. And they don't forget to think big and dream big. And they know they can achieve anything because they have the right tools to succeed. So maybe, just maybe, my vision will become your vision as well. And now I have 3 questions. Do you want to know who you are? Yes? Great. Do you believe you can have an impact on the world? And do you know what a memory palace is? Yes. Great. And don't forget to remember Now, got to know. This time, I want you to never to forget about you. Thank you.